WREG in Memphis. This is News Channel 3 Daybreak.
Just 1 minute before the top of the hour, we're following breaking news as you wake up with us this morning. Memphis police busy investigating a shooting at a Mid-South gas station. We'll continue to follow this story more as it develops. Good Thursday morning and welcome on into Daybreak. I'm Noah Sershin in for Zanetta Lowe. It's Thursday, January 15th, also known as Friday Eve around here. We've got a lot more news to get to this morning, including this. 2 cars badly mangled after this car crash this morning. That scene now clear. We're live with an update. Plus, MSCS takeover talks continue. What's next for the bill as debates are still ongoing? And good news this morning on the health front. Flu cases are on a downward trend in the volunteer state. Here are tips from one Tennessee doctor to help keep the spread down. That's coming up later on Daybreak. And before we get into the rest of your morning's top stories, Todd is in with a first look at our forecast. And Todd, it's pretty chilly out there.
I hope the heater's working in the car.
Oh, me too.
Man, it's a tough one this morning. It's kind of brutal. We're talking temperatures across the Mid-South that have fallen down into the 20s, and wind chills are down into the teens. I mean, you look outside on the view from the Gold Strike Skyview Camera Network, and you're probably going, hey, it looks pretty good out there. Everything's great. Well, at least traffic is moving along I-240 and Poplar Avenue. Corey's going to let you know if there are any slowdowns out there, and she'll tell you more about them. I promise you, this will slow you down this morning. Well, maybe it'll speed you up so that you can get to your next location without having to deal with these temperatures that have fallen into the lower 20s, and wind chills are now down to between 15 and 20 for most. It does feel like 12 right now up around Blytheville, 14 currently in Covington, 18 here in Memphis. The north winds are back, the skies are clear, the sunshine will be out, and the winds will actually be shifting today. We do start with the northerly winds, which is why it's so chilly out there, but with the return of sunshine and southerly winds throughout the day, we should warm up to near 40, and it shouldn't be too bad across the area. And the good news is, with those southerly winds, temperatures will not be dropping as much for tonight, even warming to near 50 tomorrow. But we have to talk about the timing of some rain moving in tomorrow, because we have another big blast of cold air moving in, Corey, and with that, some very cold temperatures for Sunday.
All right, well, good morning, everyone. It's time Saber Traffic Report is brought to you by Mama Justice Law Firm. You can see green on our mapping system. We were just talking about that. It's the good news of flow traffic is moving along smoothly. Currently crash free. We've got an 8-minute travel time on Bill Morris Parkway between Forest Hill, Irene, and then driving your way in towards that I-240 split. No major delays at this point. So dropping into one of our camera shots over at Bill Morris Parkway and Hacks Cross. Nice long stretch of Bill Morris Parkway. Of course, this is like far east, and you can see that the flow traffic is looking fantastic. No delays. And then making your way in towards that I-240 interchange a little bit closer is the exit. If you go south, it's Hickory Hill. If you go north, it's Ridgeway. But if you're heading in towards that I-240 interchange, you guys are looking really good, merging onto the south leg of I-240. Or if you're heading out on Bill Morris Parkway, flow traffic looking really good for you as well.
Corey, thank you so much. Updating you to some breaking news now. That large power outage in Parkway Village has been resolved. About 1,500 customers lost power overnight. A pole was hit on Cherry Road and Knight Arnold. Right now, you're taking a live look at where it happened. Your news leader is working to see if that driver will be cited. Also breaking this morning, a DeSoto County inmate has died. The sheriff's office says that 42-year-old Ricardo Deshaun Walton was found unresponsive in his housing pod. Corrections officers gave Walton CPR, and he was taken to Baptist DeSoto, where he was pronounced dead. There seems to be no foul play in the inmate's death. Now, Walton, who is from Memphis, was detained for nearly 24 days for meth possession with a firearm. The Mississippi Bureau of Investigation is handling the death. And also breaking while you were sleeping, a shooting at a gas station in Hickory Hill. Memphis police say the call came in just after 9:30 on the corner of Hickory Hill and Knight Arnold Road. Your news leader is working to learn details about what led up to the gunfire and if anyone was hit. And as Corey said just a couple minutes ago, traffic may be flowing well, but it certainly wasn't the case a little while ago. Police are continuing to investigate what was a car crash in southeast Memphis. It happened about 3 hours ago, and they were on the scene with that heavy law enforcement presence. WREG's Jarita Patterson joins us live now from that scene. And Jarita, that crash, it's finally cleared, so things finally moving pretty smoothly out there.
Yeah, and we like to see that. What a difference an hour makes. That's how long it's been since this area, folks, at South Perkins and Winchester has since cleared following a rather serious collision. Now, I can tell you we've had the chance to speak with bystanders who really are sort of connecting the dots. But, of course, we are exercising our due diligence by reaching out to investigators to have that information confirmed before we bring it to you. Let's go ahead and show you how things look after we arrived. I can tell you this collision happening around 3 a.m. once more here in an area considered to be Parkway Village. This is South Perkins once more in Winchester. The collision happening under this overpass. We could see at least 2 vehicles involved. Folks, there is a dark colored sedan in which it was sort of peeled back. I can tell you the doors on the passenger side, front and back, were missing, airbags deployed. There was a second vehicle that was essentially cut in half. Both vehicles were removed from this area in order for investigators to reopen a heavily traveled intersection. But back out here live, what drivers are seeing is still some of the aftermath. We're going to point it out to you once this vehicle sort of makes its way up. There is at least one pole is split and splintered. You can see there in the distance, as well as the fence. That is where one of those vehicles collided, we have been told, again, by a bystander who was out here, someone who witnessed the aftermath. Folks, I can tell you we have sent emails as well as made phone calls to detectives to get more information in order to back up really what we are hearing from bystanders. Of course, the moment we hear back, we'll pass along what we have learned. Reporting for your news leader in Parkway Village, Jarita Patterson, WREG News Channel 3.
Glad those roads are back open, Jarita, thanks. And this wasn't the only crash police are investigating in the span of 12 plus hours. Right now, they're still trying to figure out what caused that deadly car crash on I-55. At least 2 people were killed and 2 others injured in this 5-car wreck on I-55. This is near South Parkway. It happened around 4:30 yesterday afternoon, and traffic was backed up close until after 10. The 2 people taken to the hospital are expected to be okay. And happening today, the man accused of gunning down a man in front of his wife will be in court today. Tommy Applewhite has a motions hearing today. Police say he is a convicted felon that was in possession of a firearm when he allegedly shot and killed Rodriguez Poplar Friday morning on Tresvant after Poplar and his wife pulled into Applewhite's driveway because they had a taillight that went out. Officers heard the argument and gunshots as they investigated an alarm that went off at a nearby school. Applewhite was on probation from a 2022 gun case, and he's now being held without bail. Quadruple murder and kidnapping suspect Austin Drummond will remain in state prison until his trial. That decision, handed down by the Tennessee Court of Appeals. Drummond was initially held in Obion County in their jail after his arrest, but their sheriff argued that the case is high profile and the suspect's behavior created a strain on staff. A judge in Lake County granted the sheriff's request to move Drummond into the Tennessee Department of Corrections custody. That was back in October. In a ruling, the judge said that the jail in Lake County is, quote, insufficient to house and keep safe this inmate, and no other jail or detention facility located reasonably close is sufficient to house and keep safe the inmate, end quote. TDOC shows Drummond has been in state custody since November, but it's not clear which prison he's in. Happening today, 2 former Memphis police officers are scheduled for decertification hearings today. Elizabeth Kirby could lose her certification for failing 2 drug tests between July and November of 2024. Kirby quit her job instead of being fired. Anisha Williams, she is accused of sending 4 video messages to her ex-girlfriend, and those videos showed that Williams said that she would harm her ex. Williams then posted a video to a Facebook group chat, making even more threats while she was on duty in her uniform and patrol car. She was listed as a suspect for intimidation, and she was later charged with harassment and official misconduct. Williams also took paid sick leave, but actually went on trips. She was fired from the department. Now, both former officers' hearings are set for 9 this morning in Nashville, and the final vote is expected tomorrow. In education matters this morning, there are questions that still remain on if lawmakers will move forward with their plans to take over Memphis-Shelby County schools. That debate was brought back after the House and Senate failed to agree on different versions of the resolution. Our Quamitra Wilburn is joining us live in studio now. And Quamitra, what comes next?
Good morning, Todd. Yeah, the bill has already seen movement in the Senate, and debate is expected to continue in the House, with stakeholders on both sides preparing to make their case. The second day of the 2026 General Assembly included a brief discussion about a bill that would allow the state to take over the largest school district in Tennessee. This, as mentioned, comes after the House and Senate failed to agree on different versions of the bill last year. Republican lawmakers say intervention will help improve education and success rates for students, while Democratic lawmakers say it's government overreach.
There's nothing that speaks to academia or academic improvement in the legislation. You know, the whole thing is really about taking over the property portfolio of Shelby County Schools in the $1.2 billion budget.
Now, if the Senate doesn't approve the House bill, a conference committee will work to reach a compromise. The House plan would create an oversight board to control MSCS spending, requiring approval for contracts over $50,000 and monitoring the district for at least 3 years. We will, of course, continue to follow any updates, bringing you the latest on air and online. Reporting for your news leader, Joel Bourne, WREG News Channel 3.
All right, a lot of people definitely will be watching. Quamitra, thanks. New this morning, you may soon be able to order something off of Amazon and get it the same day. Amazon shared plans with the Greater Memphis Chamber on a same-day shipping facility. The 350,000 square feet facility on Clark in East Rains is expected to begin late next year. Details are limited, but officials say more details will be released closer to the launch. And a health alert, the CDC is sharing some good news this morning when it comes to flu here in Tennessee. Cases are down as of the first week in January. Our Braille Brown is joining us live this morning, and Braille, doctors told you it's still a little early, so we still need to keep our guard up, right?
That's right, Todd. Although health experts are optimistic about the decreasing trend, they do say that the worst could still be yet to come. Now, giving kids a short break from school can help slow down the spread of illness for those few weeks. And of course, infections still happen at holiday gatherings and year-end parties. But it's typical to see cases rise towards the end of the year, dip slightly during the break, and then increase again in January and early February. The flu usually peaks in December, but influenza B lingers into the spring. To identify when flu activity has peaked, doctors need to observe several consecutive weeks of declining cases.
I think this is one of the situations where maybe we've got the lead, but it's only the third quarter. And I think we need to stay on our game. And the way we do that is we wash hands, we get good sleep, we do all of those things our moms taught us to do. But we also take advantage of being vaccinated against influenza because we know that's the single most important thing we can do to avoid the serious complications of flu.
Doctors warn a new flu subvariant isn't covered by this year's shot. Tell your provider if you get sick, they may prescribe antivirals early. Now, the flu shots do lessen the severity, even if it doesn't match the strand. Reporting live for your news leader, Braille Brown, WREG News Channel 3.
We are moving up now on 9 minutes after the hour, and good morning, everyone, from the Severe Weather Center, where the views from the Gold Strike Skyview camera network have been providing us with just some delightful views all across the area. We have clear skies, we have northerly winds across the area, and here's the bottom line. Friends, there is a big-time chill in the Mid-South air you need to be aware of. Any cloudy skies and rain conditions from yesterday have moved out, but you can see on Storm Tracker 3S that it's really all about these northerly winds and the much colder air that has spilled back into the Mid-South. I mean temperatures that are falling into the low and mid-20s, and even more importantly, because of the north and northwesterly flow, wind chills that are averaging between 15 and 20 degrees. So after a couple of days of mild weather, I hope you are ready for a chilly start to your day. Grab the jacket. The good news is southerly winds are returning. Temperatures are going to be climbing, but that's going to be pretty brief because we have another blast of cold air coming in on Saturday, and that's going to be dropping our temperatures below normal for much of next week. So here you see the southerly winds for later on tonight. Our next big cold front moves through. The northwest winds are going to be back, and they will be gusting on occasion. So, Corey, we got to get ready. A few showers tomorrow. Much colder as we head through the weekend, even down below freezing by early Sunday morning.
All right, bundle up. Well, good morning, everyone. This Time Saver Traffic Report is brought to you by Mama Justice Law Firm. We're going to take a drive in over from Crittenden County, then make our way back into Memphis and Shelby County. We're starting in Marion, Arkansas. We're talking Interstate 55. Currently clocking at 71 miles an hour in Marion, Arkansas. No issues, slowdowns, or delays. Looking pretty good on that section of the interstate. If you're heading in towards Memphis this morning, you're going to bypass West Memphis, Arkansas, clocking at 65 miles an hour. That's that 40-55 split where you're determined to either take the I-40 bridge or the I-55 bridge to cross into Memphis. Both bridges are looking really good for your morning commute. 64 miles per hour for the I-40 bridge, 62 for the Interstate 55 bridge. Flow traffic on either bridge is going to look fantastic, so it'll be your choice, whichever you want to cross over the Mississippi River this morning.
As always, thanks for steering us around those backups, Corey. Thanks. Still to come this morning on Daybreak, time is ticking for lawmakers in D.C. to pass funding bills to avert yet another government shutdown. Well, government entities, both bodies of Congress, are at odds over funding. But first, taser, well, not anymore.
I think this is a waste of time. It's a waste of taxpayer dollars.
A bill in Mississippi could ban law enforcement from using tasers and stun guns. The concern one sheriff's deputy has about this bill, and another ICE-related shooting in Minneapolis, this one involving an immigrant. How Tennessee leaders are responding when we return.
The #1 morning newscast, WREG News Channel 3.
And welcome back into Daybreak. This morning, Congress is racing to avoid yet another government shutdown. The House passed 2 funding bills, sending them to the Senate yesterday, but 4 more are on the table to fund the Pentagon, also Social Security, health services, housing, and other departments as well. The lawmakers have until January 13th. Now, you might remember the last government shutdown that was in October. It lasted 43 days. Well, there are questions this morning after Iran briefly shut down its airspace for commercial flights overnight without any explanation. The closure lasted more than 4 hours, forcing international airlines to have to reroute before flights resumed just a few hours ago. This move comes as deadly protests continue across that country. President Trump says that Iran has called off all scheduled executions of detained prisoners, but he's still weighing military action. Some U.S. personnel are being urged to leave the U.S. military base in Qatar. We're following breaking news from Minneapolis overnight. A federal officer shot an immigrant just a week after an ICE agent shot and killed a woman just 4 miles away. Smoke filled the streets last night as protests erupted. Go ahead and take a look. Yeah, and this was just 3 hours ago there in the Twin Cities. Local police officials are pleading with residents to go home. Thousands of federal agents are patrolling that city. Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey says that the situation is not sustainable. Tennessee lawmakers are responding to this. Tennessee Democrats haven't spoken out on this latest shooting, but Republican legislative leaders say that they plan to work with the White House on immigration enforcement policies instead of supporting proposals to restrict federal operations. In a statement, State Senator Jack Johnson said Tennessee is leading the nation in more ways than one, and working with Donald Trump to crack down on illegal immigration is no different. We will never apologize for working hand in hand with the president, ICE, and our heroic law enforcement. Mississippi law enforcement agencies are concerned this morning about a House bill that would ban the use of tasers. State Representative Omira Scott proposed House Bill 182 that would prohibit law enforcement from using tasers and stun guns. The bill requires all tasers to be destroyed. Now, agencies could face a $10,000 fine for not complying. One taser instructor is concerned about what less lethal tools officers can now use.
If you put me in a situation with somebody with a weapon, somebody with a bat, a stick, a knife, anything like that, you're taking everything out of my hands other than deadly force.
And that state rep said that her constituents were actually worried about how dangerous tasers are and asked for them to be discontinued. She said that there have also been multiple injuries and deaths in Mississippi because of tasers. Well, happy Founders Day to the AKAs in pink and green, the oldest black sorority. They're celebrating 115 years of service today. It was founded on this day in 1908 at Howard University in Washington, D.C. In sorority, they played a key role in civil rights, education, community advocacy with notable members like former Vice President Kamala Harris and Rosa Parks, and also Coretta Scott King. So happy Founders Day to all the ladies in pink and green.
Yeah, wind chills are down in the teens this morning, Zanetta, so absolutely find a place to keep your body warm and to recover. And keep in mind that we're dropping down into the teens as actual temperatures for like Sunday and Monday morning. So we have another big blast of cold air that's on its way. And with that, you're going to need to plan and prepare as well as we head through like Saturday night and Sunday night here in the Mid-South. But here you can see plenty of reasons to be inside and finding a safe and warm place to stay. We have temperatures in the low and mid-20s. The wind chills mainly between about 15 and 20 degrees, although it is feeling colder in Blytheville and Covington this morning. Storm Tracker 3S we're now in the remnants of what happened yesterday. We had a cold front move through. We had the clouds, we had the drizzle, now we have the northerly winds, and we've had the falling temperatures during the overnight hours. So we picked up just under 1/10 of an inch of rain. The temperatures were in the mid-50s early, but obviously those temperatures were falling throughout the course of the day, and we're already down to 26 here in Memphis. Northwesterly winds, again, the wind chill between about 15 and 20 degrees. So we do have the clear skies for the day. Temperatures are going to be very slow to warm. By midday, we're in the mid-30s, and afternoon highs will struggle to get out of the 30s throughout the afternoon. But as southerly winds return, it will not be as cold tonight. By daybreak tomorrow, low and mid-30s, and with the southwesterly flow, we're even warming back up into the upper 40s to near 50 throughout the course of the afternoon on your Friday. However, we also have a little bit of a chance of rainfall moving into the area later in the day as we see the arrival of our next cold front. So you can see we're going to start the day tomorrow with the southerly flow, but as the cold front approaches, we're going to see a chance of rain. Now, here's the key. We've had the southerly flow. We have temperatures near 50. That's not cold enough for anything frozen. So what we're looking at is a pretty good chance for a few scattered showers late in the day on Friday. Then the colder air really starts to spill in on Saturday. And by the time we get to early on Sunday morning, there will be a significant chill back in the air. But for the timing of that rainfall, in case you have plans outdoors tomorrow, you can see this rain starting between about 3 and 6 p.m. out of here before you head off to bed, and really nothing frozen expected across the area as far as precipitation. But here's that big blast of cold air that's going to be moving into the Mid-South by the time we get to Sunday and Monday morning. Watch carefully now on the 7-day forecast, and you're going to see that while it is cold today, we have plenty of sunshine. Tomorrow it's warmer and we have those scattered showers. Then over the weekend, that big blast of cold air comes in and the temperatures drop dramatically. I mentioned down to about 20 for both Sunday and Monday morning, and that cold air is going to spill into the area for about 5 days. The +3 part of the 10-day forecast, Corey, does warm us up by the end of next week, and we'll be watching for another chance of rain by next weekend as well.
By then, we'll be excited about the 58 degrees.
Oh, yeah, it's like rain, don't worry about it. At least it's going to be warm.
Yeah. Well, good morning, everyone. This time, Cyber Traffic Report is brought to you by Mama Justice Law Firm. This time we're going to take a drive in from Marshall County. If you're commuting in from Marshall County, DeSoto County, then making your way in towards Shelby County, we've got you covered on Interstate 22. We're right over at Red Banks, Interstate 22 East at Red Banks. You can see a live look from our MDOT camera on the interstate system, currently clocking at 76 miles an hour. So you guys are looking really good with no delays. Then you make your drive in over into Olive Branch, Mississippi in DeSoto County. Great camera shot from our MDOT camera. That's over at 78 302, and then right over at Goodman Road, basically. You hop on 78, then you take 78 in towards Memphis. Your current drive time is about a 15-minute travel time. Hopping on that south leg of I-240, flow traffic looking fantastic. And just dropping into one of our camera shots, currently clocking at 65 miles an hour inside Memphis, Shelby County, I-240 Lamar. No delays at this time.
Corey, thanks. Well, it's no shocker prices for almost everything are rising. Up next, some tips to help keep your bottom line intact and how Mississippi is tackling maternal mortality. That's next in Daybreak Health and Business News. Stay with us. In a health alert this morning, maternity mortality rates in Mississippi are among the highest in the nation. The State Board of Health approved regulations to govern the system of care for expectant mothers. According to a 2025 report from the Mississippi Department of Health, most maternal deaths were preventable, and over half of those happen at the hospital. One state officer wants mothers to get the right care they need.
Not every birthing hospital can take care of a really high-risk pregnancy or take care of a preterm baby. So we want to, the system will help facilitate moms and babies being at the right location when they need to be, and when life happens and they're at the wrong location, the system will facilitate moving them to the right location quickly.
And according to that same report, obesity is the largest contributing factor for Mississippi's pregnancy-related deaths. President Trump signed a new law that brings back whole and 2% milk across the country. Late last year, Congress passed the Whole Milk for Healthy Kids Act. It lets schools participating in the National School Lunch Program to offer whole milk or 2% milk to students. The new law reverses Obama-era restrictions that limited options to low-fat or fat-free milk that aimed at fighting childhood obesity. In a recall alert this morning, Diva Fam is recalling all lots of flavors of its sea moss gel superfood. The FDA warns of a potential risk of botulism. Now, this is a rare but very serious illness that can affect the nervous system. We're talking about weakness, dizziness, trouble speaking, or even swallowing in severe cases, and even difficulty breathing. The recalled products come in 16-ounce glass jars and were made before January 9th. No illnesses have been reported so far. In Money Matters, many families say that they're feeling it, especially at the grocery store. New numbers show American families are spending hundreds more on food than they were just 5 years ago. According to the U.S. Department of Agriculture, a family of 4 spent anywhere from about $1,000 to $1,600 on groceries last year. The prices, well, they keep rising. The latest Consumer Price Index shows food costs spiked 0.7% last month.
A lot of people are feeling a lot more pressure shopping for their families. Couponing can absolutely make a difference. And how much exactly you're going to save is going to depend on what you need.
Yeah, those coupons there, along with warehouse memberships like Sam's Club and Costco, where buying in bulk lowers the cost per item. Signing for store rewards and sticking to a shopping list can also help families stretch a dollar. Well, can you hear me now? This morning, Verizon says its service is back up and running after its outage affected millions of customers. And the problems, they started yesterday morning with phones showing an SOS signal and phones only able to make calls over Wi-Fi. Verizon says it's finally fixed things around 11 last night, but never said what caused the outage. However, customers will be getting a credit on their account. Well, coming up in the next half hour of News Channel 3 Daybreak, a car crash investigation drew a major law enforcement presence in southeast Memphis. While the scene has cleared, the investigation is far from over. We're live there this morning with an update. Plus, the war of words over 201 Poplar are back on. The updates we're expected to get today about the jail, and sub-freezing temps as you head out this morning. And get ready, even more Arctic air is headed in this weekend. Todd will tell us just how cold it will get next on News Channel 3 Daybreak. Stay with us.
From WREG in Memphis, this is News Channel 3 Daybreak.
6:30 the time right now, and we're following breaking news on Daybreak. 2 cars badly mangled after this car crash this morning. That scene now cleared. We're live with an update. Plus, a very busy morning in Parkway Village for police as they investigate a shooting and a power outage overnight. What we know so far is straight ahead. And a Soulsville charter school is facing uncertainty this morning. Here was discussed at last night's school board meeting. A lot of news to get to this morning as we say good morning to you. Good to be with you, I know assertion. We're going to get to those stories in a moment, but first, it is freezing outside, quite literally. Weather expert Todd Demers is in this morning with a look at the forecast. Todd, good morning.
Hey, outside, friends, there's a definite chill in the air. And I guess we'll be talking about the shade at another time, right? Here in the Mid-South, the big story, temperatures across the area dropping into the lower 20s and wind chills down in the teens. Friends, that is really the big story for you this morning. This is what I really want you to pay attention to, because while today we have sunshine, the winds are shifting back to the south, and it should be a fairly pleasant afternoon. This morning is going to be difficult because of that chill that is in the mid-south air. Temperatures across the area will recover to near 40 with the sunshine and return to that southwesterly flow. And by later on this evening and overnight, we'll be doing okay. But it's almost like we're getting ready for the next blast of cold air to move into the area. That's going to be happening as we head through the weekend. So Saturday and especially Saturday night, temperatures are dropping dramatically. Your Sunday is probably going to be an indoor kind of day, Corey. So you can go ahead and start making plans now about what you're going to be streaming on TV.
There you go. Good morning, everyone. This Time Saver Traffic Report is brought to you by Mama Justice Law Firm. We are currently crash-free. If you're just tuning in, the flow traffic is moving along smoothly. So we're going to take a drive in out east on I-40. We're going to start over at I-40 in Appling. It is currently clocking at 72 miles an hour. If you're on I-40, making your way in towards the flyover, the flow traffic is just moving along smoothly, looking fantastic so far. Currently clocking at 60 miles an hour as you're approaching the 4240 flyover. If you want to take that north leg, no delays. If you want to go up and over the flyover, start to head towards Walnut Grove, heading east. If you do want to hop on and continue on Sam Cooper, currently clocking at 63 miles an hour right over at Sam Cooper at Perkins, and then continuing on Sam Cooper a little further, you have clocking at 54 miles an hour. This is Sam Cooper just west of Highland, and you can see the flow traffic looking fantastic on that section. The entire stretch of Sam Cooper is looking really good so far.
Corey, thank you so much. Updating you to some breaking news now. That large power outage in Parkway Village has been resolved. About 1,500 customers lost power overnight. A pole was hit on Cherry Road in Knight Arnold, and right now you're taking a live look at where it happened. Your news leader is working to see if that driver will be cited. Also breaking this morning, a DeSoto County inmate has died. The sheriff's office says that 42-year-old Ricardo Deshaun Walton was found unresponsive in his housing pod. Corrections officers gave Walton CPR, and he was taken to Baptist DeSoto where he was pronounced dead. And there seems to be no foul play in this inmate's death. Walton, who is from Memphis, was detained for nearly 24 days for meth possession with a firearm. The Mississippi Bureau of Investigation is handling this death. And breaking news while you were sleeping, a shooting at a gas station in Hickory Hill. Memphis police say the call came in just after 9:30 on the corner of Hickory Hill and Knight Arnold Road. Your news leader is working to learn details about what led to the gunfire and if anyone was hit. We are continuing to follow breaking news about that car crash we've been telling you about all morning. It drew a very large police presence, and that scene is now cleared. WREG's Jarita Patterson has been there for hours, and Jarita, that scene has been clear for quite a bit now, but there's still a lot of questions like what happened, who was involved. There's still questions that need to be answered this morning, right?
Yeah, and those are certainly questions folks we've had the chance to speak with this morning are asking. So where that accident happened, just behind me, as mentioned, it has cleared. But I can tell you there really was a trail of destruction that came to an end just to my right. We're actually going to show you one of a pole that was knocked down. It's split in half and it is splintered. That is where it came to an end. Let's go ahead and show you how things looked overnight, folks. Around 3 a.m., there were at least 2 vehicles involved in this collision. There was a Maserati, a 4-door vehicle. You can see the airbags deployed. There was a second vehicle that was essentially cut in half. Tow trucks were brought in order to remove those vehicles. Where we are, by the way, is South Perkins and Winchester, right on the line of Southeast Memphis and Parkway Village. This is a busy intersection, and this was a serious crash that caused that intersection to be closed for several hours. Once more, folks, the area has since reopened. I can tell you we have reached out to investigators to get more information, more details on what led up to this. We've had the chance to speak with bystanders who really are sort of connecting the dots, but we want to get confirmation, of course, from detectives who are overseeing what happened here during the overnight hours. Once that information is made available, we'll certainly pass it along on air and online. But I can tell you, South Perkins at Winchester, it has reopened. So those drivers traveling east and westbound here on Winchester, they can once more make their way through the intersection. Reporting for your news leader in Parkway Village, Jarita Patterson, WREG. News Channel 3.
Jarita, thanks. It wasn't just a mess on the roads here in Memphis overnight. We told you about that fatal wreck on I-55 last hour, but take a look at this. This is in Indiana where a car pileup shut down the interstate during heavy snowfall. This happened in Elkhart, right near the Michigan border. State police say the pileup started with a 3-car crash that ended in a ripple effect. Trucks and cars blocked the eastbound lanes in the center median. Even one car made it into westbound traffic and also landed in a ditch. Several people were injured, but their injuries aren't life-threatening. Well, we've seen lots of crashes recently due to the Tennessee Highway Patrol, all a part of the Memphis Safe Task Force, and they've made a lot of arrests, but how much do you know about the impacts it's made? WREG investigator April Thompson looks at the task force transparency with what they're telling us and what we still don't know.
Getting criminals off the street, seizing illegal firearms, and finding missing kids. All things the Memphis Safe Task Force says it has been doing for the 3.5 months they've been on the ground in Memphis. WREG was the first Memphis TV station to get an inside look at how the task force operates when it hits the streets.
We're focused on strictly violent offenders. With this many people here on ground, those were just the 3 teams that were out today. We're running 24/7 operations here.
Running and making thousands of arrests, more than 5,000 to date. And while the task force has been issuing press releases on some of those cases, the majority of the arrests we never hear about.
We can't obviously capture all of those arrests, so we try to go with the most significant. As far as what happens after, whether when someone's charged here in the criminal justice system, that starts the entire process.
A process that has left some people with a lot of questions.
At the end of the day, we cannot correlate how much collateral damage has happened through all of these traffic stops, tens of thousands of traffic stops, to get approximately 5,000 arrests. And by my estimates, most of those arrests, and I think even by some of their own numbers, over half of those arrests have nothing to do with violent crime.
Coming up tonight on News Channel 3 at 10, the WREG investigators dig into the transparency of the Memphis Safe Task Force. Who is being arrested and what is happening with those cases?
I'm saying what they owe to the public is the level of transparency and proof that we have not seen them commit to.
Task Force transparency tonight on News Channel 3 at 10. Investigating for your news leader in Memphis, April Thompson, WREG News Channel 3.
All right, we'll look for that report tonight at 10 April. Thanks. Happening today, a hearing in Tyree Nichols' family's $550 million civil suit against the city of Memphis. In October, a judge ruled that the family can now include MPD Chief C.J. Davis in that wrongful death lawsuit. Nichols died in January of 2023 after he was beaten by Memphis police following a traffic stop. Well, the condition of Sewell and Poplar has been a topic of discussion over the past several years and has continued to be top of mind for the Shelby County Mayor, Lee Harris. Our Quamitra Wilborn joining us in studio now as the mayor is planning to call a plan of action this year. But Quamitra, it's causing a rift with the sheriff. Break this down for us. Tell us why.
Good morning, Todd. Yeah, so the future of the Shelby County Jail has been a long-standing debate, as we know. And now today, Shelby County Mayor Lee Harris is set to host a community update about the conditions of the jail and call for a plan of action. So the debate centers on overcrowding, deteriorating conditions, and inmate deaths. 13 people died in custody at the jail over the course of 2025. Now, Harris wants to gather those most directly impacted by the consequences of poor jail conditions and management, all with the goal of reform this year. So the issue has created a rift, like you mentioned, between the mayor and Sheriff Floyd Bonner, who says he has long asked for money to renovate and build a new jail, but accuses county leaders of dragging their feet. Last year, Harris floated the idea of outside intervention, something Sheriff Bonner pushed back against, telling your news leader he has no plans to hand over control of the jail.
Well, if the mayor or anyone looks up the Constitution of the state of Tennessee, it says that the sheriff will operate the jail. That's under the Constitution of the state of Tennessee. So to even insinuate that the state takes over the jail, it's just not accurate.
Well, for now, there's no clear answer on whether the state will even step in or if a new jail will ever become a shared priority. All we know is that Harris says urgent reform is needed. We'll, of course, keep you updated on what comes out of the meeting this afternoon. But for now, reporting in the studio, I'm Quamitra Wilborn, WREG News Channel 3.
All right, Quamitra, thank you. And Education Matters, a Soulsville charter school is on the chopping block this morning as Memphis Shelby County Schools Board talk about the future of the school. WREG's Brayel Brown is joining us from Delta Prep with the latest on the meeting that was held last night about a non-renewal along with the charter's fight to keep those doors open. Good morning, Brayel.
Good morning, Zanetta. Now, the fight is still on for the from the executive director of Delta Prep, and she says that the future of more than 300 students' future is at stake.
The law states that the board shall revoke in 2 consecutive years. And to my 2 consecutive cycles, I apologize. So 2 consecutive cycles. Guidance has been presented that the cycles that are being used are 2018 and 2025. That is not consecutive. And so I've made that inquiry, and in that also inquired about the use of the word consecutive.
Now, that's the Charter's executive director, Crystal Tuggle, and she's looking for clarity over the state's definition of 2 consecutive cycles of poor performance. Tennessee state law does not allow for an appeal, but rather an inquiry into the data, something that she told the board that she's already submitted. The board will meet again on January the 27th to take action on the administration's recommendation. Now, of course, this is a story that we will continue to look at closely. For now, reporting live for your news leader, Braille Brown, WREG News Channel 3.
Braille, thank you. Happening today, former Vice President Kamala Harris is expected to make a guest appearance at the Orpheum today. The theater calls it a night of surprising and revealing insights inspired by her #1 New York Times best-selling book, 107 Days. The event will also include a meet and greet with Harris where fans can take photos and get a signed copy of the book. Just yesterday, Harris was in Jackson, Mississippi as a part of her tour. The event kicks off at 7 tonight. Still to come on Daybreak this morning, a man is helping out a coworker in need after her sister died. Our Stephanie Skurlock has this sweet story in this week's Pass It On right after the break. WREG is giving away a free Fire Stick so you can watch your news leader's streaming channel WREG Plus anytime you want. Register online for your chance to win by clicking on the contest tab on our website, WREG.com. You can just scan the QR code you see on your screen. We're back in a moment. Welcome back this morning. A Memphis woman spent the last year helping her sick sister, but over the Christmas holiday, she dealt with the loss of her sister, and now her coworker is stepping in to help as she grieves. Our Stephanie Skurlock has the story in this week's Pass It On.
And I trained her, and that's how we met.
King Hudson reached out to WREG after a conversation with his friend and coworker Janice Mullins.
Her sister passed, and she took care of her sister, and she was going through hard times, and I just really wanted to do something for her.
The two work for a railroad transportation company, and Hudson says Janice only works part-time.
She have a lot of expenses, and I want her to just, to have something so she can just pay her bills.
We hand over the $300 from News Channel 3.
And I'm also going to add another $100, maybe $400.
And with that, we drive to make the delivery to a surprised Janice Mullins.
I know you've been going through a hard time with your sister and everything. Yeah. And so we just here to pass it on.
Still in shock, he starts to pass it on.
Channel 3 News is donating $300, and that's 100. That's 200.
You gotta be kidding me.
And that's 300, and also 100 for me.
When the shock wears off, Janice responds with a heartfelt hug.
Come on, I love to play. Bye.
All right.
I ain't gonna cry. I'm gonna keep my face straight, okay?
Well, that's all right. It's all right.
Janice tells us how she'll use the money.
Well, since I exhausted my account, my savings to get her cremated, I just put most of it back in my savings, and the other I'll use for whatever little bills I got coming up.
Janice's sister Lois Green suffered from years of drug addiction and had finally gotten clean, only to find out she had pancreatic cancer. Janice moved Lois in next door and took care of her until she passed away 2 weeks before Christmas.
I had booked and paid for a cruise to take her because I travel a lot. She never been nowhere. So I want her to show what it's like to be sober. I want to take her on that cruise. She kept telling me, she said, I'm going to fight this cancer. She said, I'm going to fight. We going. I got a trip to go on. She kept telling the doctors that.
Lois didn't live to make the cruise, but the sisters had a plan for that too.
We came to the conclusion, if she didn't make it, and I go on the cruise next month, if it's permissible, I'm going to take the urn, and I told her, I said, I'm going to spread your ashes over the ocean. You're going to get to go places I've never been.
The ashes will go in the ocean, but the memories of her sister and kindness shown by friends like King will last forever.
Sharing that, Stephanie. 6:46 is our time now. And across the Mid-South this morning, we have very dry air. We have great visibility coming in from the Gold Strike Skyview camera network as we're getting ready for a little sunrise action here in the Mid-South. Traffic certainly beginning to pick up on I-240 out east near Poplar Avenue. Corey's coming up in just a moment with your latest look at time saver traffic. Please, before you head out the door this morning, stop what you're doing and take a look at this. This is our big story this morning. Temperatures have dropped dramatically. I mean, we're talking lower 20s, especially to the north. And then on top of that, because of our northwesterly winds, the wind chills have fallen to between about 15 and 20 degrees for most, but it still feels like 12 right now in Blytheville. So while I am anticipating sunshine today and temperatures recovering back to near 40 degrees, there will remain a chill in the air courtesy of those northwesterly winds. I mean, what a significant change from early yesterday before the cold front arrived. We had temperatures in the mid-50s. Then, of course, we had a little bit of rain. Remember that early in the day, very early in the day, about 1/10 of an inch. 51 and 33 are considered the norms, and we're about to go below normal probably as we make our way through the weekend and beyond. But 26, our current temperature with the northwesterly winds, puts the wind chills down into the teens. So please be ready for that. Now let's see what happens throughout the day. I mentioned how the winds are going to be shifting. They're going to be coming more from the south and southwest, and that along with the sunshine should bring us back up to about 40. And then we will not see temperatures dropping nearly as much overnight. We'll be in the low 30s at daybreak. And behind the southwesterly winds tomorrow, high temperatures will be a little bit closer to 50 degrees before the day is through. But we're also looking at some increasing clouds and some increasing rain chances across the area. And when we take you to the surface map, you're certainly going to see why. This is my 3-day outlook. So this is a forecast model that shows the clear skies, the mild conditions probably through early tomorrow morning. But with this next cold front arriving, I've got a little bit more cloud cover in the area. Notice we still have southerly winds through Friday afternoon as this cold front arrives. And so while you're looking at this precipitation, it is simply going to be too warm for anything frozen to occur across the area. So for tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow evening, chances are you're going to see a little bit of light rain make its way across the area very, very quickly. But behind this frontal boundary, there will be some much colder air across the Mid-South. And as that area of high pressure builds in, the temperatures are going to be dropping dramatically for us. But just keep in mind, our next best chance of that rain is going to be for tomorrow afternoon, and the temperatures will be falling behind that frontal boundary. So clear and cold with the north winds and the mild evening tonight, near 50 tomorrow. But once the cold front moves through, look what happens to the weekend. This is a big blast of cold air with temperatures dropping to near 20 by Sunday and Monday morning. The cold snap will last about 4 or 5 days, Corey, before we warm up late next week. So you have a couple of days to plan and prepare for some very cold air.
Absolutely. Well, good morning, everyone. This Time Saver Traffic Report is brought to you by Mama Justice Law Firm. You're going to see some flashing lights on the south leg of I-240. We're talking I-240 inbound westbound near Lamar Avenue. This is a live look from our TDOT Smartway cam. And as you can see, the flashing lights, little top part of your television screens. This is I-240 on the south leg of Lamar Avenue. You don't have to take an alternate route. It's not like traffic is stacked up, but it is off to that right shoulder, not blocking any of the main lanes. It's a tractor trailer and another vehicle, so a small fender bender at that location. You're going to see the flashing lights. So, of course, reduce your speed if you do normally head in that direction. We're talking the south leg of I-240. Right over at Lamar Avenue. Right now the time is 6:49. We'll be right back.
Coming up on CBS Mornings, are your kids obsessed with YouTube videos? Chances are they are, so we'll tell you about the new parental controls that could help you limit their screen time on the app. Plus, our series, USA to Z, is celebrating the 250th anniversary of our country. Today's letter is B for beautiful. We'll take a look at what makes America beautiful through the eyes of children. And you probably heard of the Tiger King, but what about the Donkey King? He will be here in the studio to tell us about his new show about it. You guessed, donkeys. See how our own David Begnell put him in the national spotlight. We'll see you 7 o'clock on the dot.
And now to this morning's top stories in your 60-second roundup. A multi-car crash in southeast Memphis is under investigation. Memphis police say that they responded to this area on Winchester and South Perkins Road around 3. The vehicles involved were seriously damaged, leaving debris in the roadway. We're working to learn the cause of the crash and if anyone was injured. A DeSoto County inmate has died. The sheriff's office says 42-year-old Ricardo Deshaun Watson was found unresponsive in his housing pod. Corrections officers gave Watson CPR and he was taken to Baptist DeSoto where he was pronounced dead. There seems to be no foul play in the inmate's death. Now Watson, who lives from Memphis, was detained for nearly 24 days for meth possession with a firearm. The Mississippi Bureau of Investigation is handling this death. Shelby County Mayor Lee Harris is set to hold a community update and a calling for plaintiff action at 201 Poplar. This comes after overcrowding concerns, outdated facilities, and multiple inmate deaths. Harris is holding a press conference with those affected with the goal of reform, he says, in the new year.
This Time Saver Traffic Report is brought to you by Mama Justice Law Firm. A few things you need to know before you head out the door. For starters, we have a brand new crash on Perkins, but this is going to be located over at Perkins and Quince. 2 vehicles involved. Please give them a safe place to work that accident. It's going to be Quince and Perkins. And then that crash on the interstate system, it is going to be to the side. It's going to be I-240 on the south leg of I-240 at Lamar Avenue. You can see the flashing lights off that top part of your television screen. The shoulder is currently blocked, so just reduce your speed and give them a safe place to work that crash.
Corey, thank you so much. As we look outside, you may notice there is a bit of a chill in the Mid-South air, but get ready. It's just the beginning. We do have another big blast of cold air on the way. For the most part, kind of quiet, though, on Storm Tracker 3. Yes, you see those northerly breezes with a high nearing 50 today. Southwest winds are going to be returning to the area, and that should keep us fairly comfortable for this evening and overnight. But we do have a chance for showers tomorrow, and on the 3-day forecast, you will notice how quickly things change. For Saturday, we've got a pretty massive cold front moving through, dropping temperatures dramatically. Lows will be near 20 degrees both Sunday and Monday morning.
Definitely grab those coats and gloves. Really quickly before we go, a warming center is open at First Baptist Church. It's on Poplar and East Parkway. It's open until about 10 this morning. For a ride, call 486-0939. We're coming back with more news, traffic, and weather during CBS Mornings. So stick around for Live at 9 with Corey, Todd, and Kanji. And then I'll see you back for the news at noon. Stay safe and stay warm, everyone. Have a great day.